feedback at the end. You can send that anytime using the chat if you'd like to, or after the webinar. We'd also be interested to know how you found out about the webinar, as that would really help with our marketing. So let's get started. Okay, so a little bit about me, Director and a SharePoint Architect at ID. Been working with SharePoint for about 6 years now, and I specialize in designing and implementing intranets. Okay, so what we're going to cover this morning, we're going to cover the top 10 benefits of an intranet. I'm going to show you how Mercury helps you realize these. We're going to give you a brief summary of Mercury at the end, and then we'll do a bit of a Q&A session. If you've got any questions as I go through, you can send these on the questions panel or in the chat window. So the first benefit is vastly improved internal comms. So I'm going to drop into a demo now, show you Mercury, and show you how it can help you realize this benefit. Okay, so this is Mercury. This is our Intranet in a Box product, and I've opened it on the home page. So the first benefit for internal comms is going to be the announcements functionality. So you can see here we've got an announcements bar, and you can see how this is scrolling along with each of the announcements that has been added to the intranet. So if I want to open one of these announcements as a member of staff, I can simply click on it and that will open, and we get the detail of the announcement. We can have external links, pictures and rich content in there as well. We can also use the announcements bar to display breaking news, and if we do that, the announcements bar will display in red and it will stop showing announcements until the breaking news item is gone. You can also set an expiry on each of these announcements so they disappear after a certain amount of time. The next one we have is the carousel, which is a great way to feature your news and really highlight important corporate news to your employees. So you can see here I can click through the various slides just like a normal carousel would work, and I can click on any of these to view the news article. For example, I could click on this one and this is going to open a news article within the intranet. So quarterly news, for example. And these links in the carousel can go externally or to anywhere within your intranet. It doesn't have to be news articles. They could go through to pages, line of business systems, etc. The next one we have is the News and Updates Accelerator. So this is going to roll up all your corporate news into one place. So you can see here we have a number of news articles and we have different tags. So we have this one tagged as corporate, HR, staff and news. I have another one tagged with news and training, and we can actually roll these news articles up from various sites, and we can also control it on a team basis. So if the current user is a member of the HR department, for example, we can display HR specific news, or we can display this news to everyone across the company. It's entirely configurable, and it's also very easy to access any news article through here. For example, I could click this one and again we get the familiar news article experience, which I'll come on to a little bit more in a minute. We then have something called the News Center. So if I click through into news, so this is our news center that we've built. This is a place for all of your news articles across the entire intranet, and provides a central source of information for your users. So they can come in here, they can search for news articles, they can also view all the news articles in the center here and see featured articles which our internal comms department have featured and have pinned because they're particularly important articles. We can also filter on the left-hand side using refiners. So you can see here I can say, well, I only want to see HR articles, and I can apply that filter and that will filter it down into only HR articles. So it's quite easy for the user to find the particular news article they're looking for across the whole intranet. So if I clear that filter. In terms of the news articles themselves, if I click through to this one, you can see it's a very familiar news article experience that you would typically get in an intranet. We have a news article title, a byline, the article date, the author, and if I was an Internet Explorer I could also get their presence on Skype for Business and all of the tags. So tagging your content in your intranet is going to make it a lot easier for your users to find it. So we really encourage tagging within Mercury and within intranets. And then you can see we have a nice news article image, and all of the text. And again, this is fully rich text experience, so we can have pictures, external links, etc. And this is all using the native functionality of SharePoint. We also have the social features underneath. We can unlike news articles or like them. We can follow them for updates. We can share them with our colleagues, or we can send a link out via email. We can also maintain a comment thread, so we leverage the social functionality of SharePoint to do this. We can also use Yammer if we wish to, so you can see a number of my colleagues here have made comments on this news article, and I've also made a comment at the bottom that I can edit or delete if I wish to. Okay, the next one would be our Twitter web part. So if I navigate back to the home page and scroll down, we have a Twitter web part. So this will display your latest tweet. If your organization has Twitter, then we can show your tweets here. We can customize this to display multiple tweets, just the first tweet. We could also embed Facebook if that's something you want to do. So again, this is bringing your social functionality and your social networks into your intranet to really improve your internal comms function and get all your news out to your employees. Okay, so to summarize the first benefit then, employees are going to know what's going on in and around the business. You can communicate breaking news a lot easier and quickly communicate this across your business. You can really streamline the corporate comms function. You can really empower your internet editors to create these articles because they're so easy to create and get the news out, and it really makes their job easier as well. So benefit 2 is streamlined collaboration. I'm going to show you how Mercury does this through many of its collaboration features. Okay, so I'm going to navigate to the home page. The first thing I'm going to show is our people search functionality. So this allows you to search for people across your entire intranet. So I'm going to search in here for my colleague Adam. There he is. There's Adam Barr. You can see that I'm already following Adam. I could perhaps follow Ellen Adams if I wanted to, and this is a really good way of connecting employees so they can search across the whole intranet, every department, across all your SharePoint My Sites in your Active Directory. So let's say I click on Adam to view his profile. Okay, now I'm looking at Adam's profile. I can see his name, his job title, his location, all of his skills, some information about him, and then various tags and things I could ask him about. So project management, SharePoint, Office 365. I can click on any one of these to again search across the whole intranet and see if there are any other users with these particular specialisms and any interests that he might be interested in, again connecting employees on a social level as well as a business level. On the right-hand side, I can see his contact details, his email address with a link to email him, his various phone numbers. We also have a car registration in here. If there's any data, additional data about your employees that your organization hold, we can customize and put that into the My Site for you as well. You can also flag up if there's something wrong on my profile. We've got another people search within here, and then we have a reports and reportees. So this is showing you who Adam reports to, who his reportees are, and if your Active Directory is structured in the correct way, then you will see this automatically within your intranet. If it isn't, we can help you organize it and make sure this web part displays correctly so you can get a real view of the structure of your organization. And if I was in my own profile, so if I, excuse me, if I click through to Diane's profile, I can quite easily edit my own profile by clicking the edit button. Okay, so I'm now in my own profile. I've clicked edit and you can see all of my information here. So I've got my work phone, my about me, my picture. It's very easy to edit my own profile, add new tags, set my hire date, etc. And I can save that when I'm done and update my profile. Okay, the next one, if I come back to the home page again, it's going to really improve collaboration, is I'm going to search for employee benefits. This is going to search across the whole intranet and show you everything that is tagged with employee benefits. So what you can see is I can see everything at the moment. So this is showing me news articles, documents, people, everything across the entire intranet. I can also search for news. I can search for articles from a How Do I knowledge base, which I'll come on to later, and I can also search across people. which is particularly useful for collaboration. So if I click on People, I can see here other employees and other colleagues who also have employee benefits as a particular specialism, and this is really useful for finding other users. If I'm working on projects, for example, setting up a project team, I can see other employees with those particular specialisms, and it makes it a lot easier to set these projects up. I can also see documents relating to the particular search term as well. Again, if you're working on a project, you can perform a search across all of these. You see all your project documents in one place in a nice, easy to find location. Okay, I'll navigate back to the home page, and I'm going to scroll down to our social feed. So you can see here we leverage the social functionality of SharePoint, and we maintain a social feed a bit like Facebook for the enterprise. Okay, so we can reply, we can like, we can follow the user, and we can start a conversation by adding our own one into here. So, for example, I could say we are currently demoing Mercury on a webinar, and that's going to add the status update to the top of the list, and other members of staff can like, comment on that, and maintain that comment and that social feed going. If your organization uses Yammer, then we can swap this feed out for Yammer. It's entirely configurable to use the Yammer embed code as well. The next one that's going to help drive collaboration is our discussion forum. So I'm going to navigate to the community tab and come into the staff forum. So here we have an example staff forum where I've raised a conversation called Intranet Feature Suggestions. I can click through in here and see who's replied. So we've got Joe Berry, Chase Carpenter have raised a couple. I can reply to those. I can mark them as the best reply, for example. So that's a great way of really streamlining the collaboration. You could use this for project-related discussions and also ideas. If you want to float a new idea with your employees, then you could do it via this, mark the best idea, and really helps to have a brainstorm as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the home page and show you another feature. So as Mercury is built on SharePoint and Office 365, we can leverage some of the out-of-the-box functionality to really help your users collaborate. One of these is OneDrive. So if I click through into OneDrive, you can see Diane's OneDrive here. I've uploaded a document, in this case an example SLA agreement document, and I can quite easily share this with other users. I can use the ellipsis and I can click share, for example, and I could choose to share this with my colleague Adam. There he is, and I can choose whether he can edit or whether he can view, and quite easily share that out. I could also use this for project documents I might be working on with my colleagues, and it's a really easy way to collaborate without needing file shares, and it's really reducing that paper trail that you typically get within organizations. Okay, so I'll navigate back to the home page to show you another way that we can really help to streamline collaboration. If I scroll down here, we have a calendar. So this is currently showing you all events across the whole of the intranet. So I could perhaps hover over one of these events. In this case, it's an intranet feedback session. I can click on the event to get more details. We can see all of the details about that particular event, such as the location, the start time, the end time, the category, etc. I can also choose to add that event to my Outlook by clicking this button, which will download it and add it to my Outlook calendar. Or I can choose to filter these events. Perhaps I only want to see meetings, etc. And what we can also do is we can have departmental specific calendars. So if I navigate to the HR site, for example, we can see we have a HR specific calendar, and we've got some events in here such as a company update, and again we can filter these down. If you were using perhaps project sites, you could have a project site specific calendar, for example. And that's a really good way of streamlining collaboration because all users are kept aware on what's going on in and around the business, what events are taking place and where they are. Another way of driving collaboration is using our Who's Who web part. So this is a great way of finding out who is part of a team. So you can see here we've got some guys, Alexandra Sylvia, so he's a project manager, Joe Berry, manager. So it's a really good way of highlighting who's in a team And again, you can use this for different departments. You could have a HR who's who, for example. Again, for projects, you could have project-specific who's who web parts. It just helps your staff connect together and really know who's part of the team. Okay. So to resume our slides then, to summarize that benefit. Okay, so it really helps connect employees. The OneDrive functionality that you saw facilitates flexible and secure file sharing, and the discussions really simplify and promote conversations and ideas that go across teams and across specialisms, and the dedicated calendars mean that events are much easier to organize. Okay, so the next benefit is increased user engagement. I'm going to show you how Mercury does this again through a number of ways. Okay, so one thing you can see when I drop into Mercury for the first time, it's got a very modern, attractive design. It can be very easily branded, so we can put your company logo on the left-hand side, and we can set this to use your company branding, your company colors very, very easily. The next thing that's really going to engage users is the milestones web part. So you can use this to highlight employees for long service. So John Grande, for example, has done 6 years long service in this case. You could also highlight employee birthdays, for example, or any key dates and any kind of key information you want to highlight about those employees. And that really helps to engage the users with the intranet. The next one is our survey. So this just really helps to get feedback from your users. So in this case for Diane, I can fill out the survey. So how often do I use Mercury? Will I use it all the time? Describe my favorite part. Well, in this case, it's going to be people search. And what's my favorite feature? Well, my favorite feature is the people search functionality. So I can submit that and I'll see the results of the survey. And I can page through these results and see the breakdown of each of these. So 2 people have said people search, 1 person said staff profiles. So that really gives your users a voice to give you some feedback, not only on the intranet, but any other surveys that you might want to run. Okay, so we also have a personalizational element to the intranet. So I can hover over something that we call the app bar. So this allows users to maintain a list of apps. These might be line of business systems, these might be external systems, any applications that you use regularly within your organization. You can have a set of default apps that come when you set the intranet up and you define those. As a user, I can click Edit My Apps. And I can customize the apps that I have in my app bar. So I could choose PowerPoint, for example, and submit that, and that will customize my app bar, which really helps engage the users, gives them a feeling of personalization and kind of tailoring the intranet to them. The next one we have is we bring in external news through the use of RSS feeds. So you can see some examples here from BBC and Sky, and this is going to help your users come to the intranet first before navigating away to external sites. It's going to keep them in the context of the intranet, which is going to help to increase user engagement. This is fully customizable. It can pull in RSS from any feeds that your company might use, so we can configure that really easily. The next one on the same place on the right hand side is the quick links. So I can expand these. We've got some HR quick links. We've got some external links. This is completely customizable. Again, external or internal links, different categories as well. And again, that's going to help your users access what they need straight away without having to leave the intranet. And again, keeping them on the intranet. So other things that really help are followed items. So in SharePoint and in Mercury, I can follow documents, I can follow pages, and I can follow sites and be notified when they change. So in the case of Diane here, she's following a cycling page and the income protection plan, and I can just click through to one of those to view it. And you'll see in this case, she's following the cycling scheme page within the HR site. And if I scroll right to the bottom, you'll see the unfollow there. So I can choose to follow any content, be that a news article, a page, or a document, and quite easily get updates in the intranet as and when they change. That's going to ensure your users are always coming back to the intranet as a central source of information. Okay, to resume where we left off then. So benefit 3 as a summary, users are going to have much more buy-in to the intranet and they're going to feel more involved in your business as a result. Staff are going to come directly to the intranet to find content and documents, and the use of follow documents and pages means employees are going to be kept up to date. No more emails or routing around for changes, they can just get updates on these. And bringing in external links into your intranet means they're more likely to visit that first, maybe as a drop-off point before going away to external sites. Okay, the next benefit is increased employee productivity. There's a number of ways that Mercury does this, and I'll show you now in a quick demo. Okay, so I'm going to navigate back to the home page. So the first one is our mega menu, which is an infinitely customizable navigation bar. So I can scroll through here and you can see how we have a number of drop downs, and this is going to allow the user to navigate across your whole intranet. So you can see the departments here, sales and marketing for example. We got some other examples of navigation such as My Mercury. You can see how customizable that is. We can also see the community tab with different types of navigation. So we've got the community tab with different types of navigation. We've got the library tab. You can see how easily customizable this is. Again, it's infinitely customizable. It's HTML based, and it means your users can easily navigate across the intranet without having to go looking for content. Okay, so the next one would be search. Built into Mercury is an extremely powerful search engine. So I can search, in this case, for cycling, for example. Okay, so we can search in this case for cycling, for example, so we can see all of the results across the whole intranet. So at the moment, I'm looking across everything. This could be news articles, this could be documents, this could be pages or sites. Again, I can click through the various what we call search verticals or categories at the top. So I can view news articles specific to cycling. In this case, we have the Cycle to Work scheme document, or I can look at How Do I article. And I'll come on to our How Do I system in more detail in a second. I can also see people who might be related, or they might have cycling as a tab, and I can click through to documents to view all the cycling documents. In this case, we've got the Cycle to Work scheme document. This is really going to increase their productivity because they can get everything through a fast search interface. No need to look around in a file share or look through emails. It's very easy and fast for them to search for the content. The next one we have is something called popular documents. So if I scroll down on the home page, so you can see in this case we've first got popular pages. So this is going to show you the pages across your intranet that are popular, i.e. your users frequently access. You can see in this case personalize the app bar is the main one. Staff development opportunities has been frequently accessed. If I navigate down into our HR subsite, we've got another example of popular documents. So you can see in this case we've got the latest HR documents that have been published on there, and that's a really good way of bringing that content to the user. If I navigate back to the home page, the last one is the recently viewed documents. So you can see here, as Diane, these are the documents that I have recently viewed. In this case, a policy template being one of them. And this is a great way, if your user keeps going back to the intranet, they're going to see the documents that they keep opening and they're not going to have to go and look for them. Okay, so to summarize that one, less time is going to be spent searching for content. They'll find the content and they won't need to recreate it. Access to documents that are frequently used is a lot quicker, and you're going to get increased user engagement, which ultimately is going to empower the employees to work harder. Okay, so the next one is employee self-service. Okay, I'll give you a demo on how Mercury facilitates that. That will be done through our dedicated How Do I application, which I access by clicking this button here. This is a full knowledge-based solution which comes built into Mercury out of the box. So as a user, if I want an answer to a particular question, I can come into How Do I and click on the relevant category. So we would work with you when we engage you to build out these categories based on your organizational structure. So I could click in HR, for example, and I want to look at pay and benefits. Okay, so what question do I have? Well, I want to look at my employee benefits and I want to know how I can access those. So I can click through this link and I can see the article very similar to a news article about how I access my employee benefits. And I can scroll down here. You can see a couple of examples of forms that I could perhaps fill in, and the full social features again, so I can maintain comments. Perhaps the content might be out of date. Perhaps you need the user or the head of the department to update that content. I could send a link to my colleagues. Again, really minimizing the need for this content to be recreated, the need for HR or IT or other departments to keep having to answer the same questions over and over again. And you can see here the department it's tagged to and all of the keywords. So it's very easy to create this content and provide your users with answers to those questions that keep getting asked. Okay, so from the home page, we're going to use the search functionality again. In this case, I'll search employee benefits like I did earlier, and you will see across the top we have How Do I. If I click on that, I get straight away the answer or the article from How Do I. So it's very easy an employee to just type in the phrase that I want the answer to and find that. No need to send an email or call a member of staff up. To summarize that benefit, this will reduce the overheads drastically because your users and your staff do not have to keep answering the same questions. It's going to help improve onboarding and recruitment because new starters know exactly where they need to go to find out the information they need to get started. It reduces the calls to your service desk because the users know and already have those answers, and less time is going to be spent keep answering those questions over and over again. And it's really going to reduce emails, as we said earlier, and ultimately paper trails as well. Okay, the next benefit of an intranet and Mercury is going to be remote working. I'll show you how that's possible through Mercury. Okay, so Mercury has a full responsive view. Mercury works across all devices, perfect if you have a bring your own device policy or use company iPhones, company iPads, any kind of mobile device. You'll see here I'm viewing it in an iPhone, for example. I get the full interface that you saw in desktop mode. So as a user, I get access to my app bar. I get access to search across the whole intranet. So as you saw, searching for employee benefits, I could use that search again through here. I could look at How Do I to find answers that I might need on the move. Perhaps I want to find a user and look at her phone number. Again, it's very easy to do. I can click through to my profile and I will get my site again in fully responsive mode, working across any device. If I navigate back to the home page, we also have the full mega menu that you saw also on a mobile device, so I can navigate around the whole intranet, all of the subsites, all of the departments, straight from one place. And if we scroll down, we still get the carousel that you saw earlier. We get all the news and updates. We get the people search, we get Twitter, we get everything. So again, internal comms are going to be able to get that news out no matter where the users are. Okay, so to summarize that one, staff are going to be kept up to date whilst they're on the move, and they can retain access to key systems right from the internet homepage, particularly the app bar as well. So, they're going to come to the intranet as a first port of call to get out to external systems. So the next benefit is going to be streamlining your HR processes. Okay, so for this, we have our wizard functionality. So if I navigate to the home page, you can see as Diane, it's the first time I obviously logged into the internet, so I have a wizard at the top. It's going to walk me through the setup process, which is perfect for new starters. So if I click on Update Profile, I first need to update my profile, add a picture, add some skills, and really fill out my profile so that other users are going to be able to look at my contact information and connect with me. So once I've done, I can save that. That's going to move me on to the next step, which is customizing the app bar. I can choose to have the default apps. I might choose to add apps, and this is going to help me personalize the intranet before I get started using it. So I can submit that. And the next one is your terms and conditions. So you can put intranet terms and conditions or any policies that they need to accept before they use the intranet. The wizard is also configurable. We can add your own steps and your own onboarding process to that. And when I'm done, I can click I agree, and the wizard is now complete. And I can navigate back to the home page. And you can see now the wizard has gone and the intranet is ready to use. The next one is through our dedicated departmental subsite. So in this case, I'll navigate into the HR site, which is just one example of how you could use a department subsite. In particular, it's useful for HR because all of your policies and procedures are in one place and your users don't need to go looking for them. So in this case, we have a number of links at the top to a number of news articles and pages, perhaps getting paid, the sickness and accidents policy, the cycle scheme, for example. This is going to allow HR to really feature these so the employees don't need to go looking for the information. We have the HR calendar, as you saw earlier, and we can navigate around this section to look at the various pages. So for example, I could go through and say benefits. I want to look at the cycling scheme. And this is very similar to a news article, but it's a content page that your departments can create. Again, we have a title, a byline, a rich image, and all of our content. You can see here we've got some links to external sites, some links to apply, and again, with the very same user interface, we have all the social functionality, the commenting, the liking, the sharing, etc. underneath. So I'm going to navigate back to the home page of the HR site. Okay, other things we have on here are new starter documents, particularly useful for your onboarding process. So your new starters can navigate into the HR subsite and find new starter documents that they might need. They can see the latest HR documents that have been published. They can see popular frequently asked questions, as we looked at earlier, and any featured pages that the HR department would like to feature. And we can also see a use of our Who's Who Accelerator to highlight some key members of the HR team. And again, this is really going to help keep those policies straight in a central place so the users don't need to go looking for them. Okay, so to summarize that one, it's going to improve and streamline your onboarding process. It's going to ensure users have full visibility of your latest policies and procedures, and it's going to provide management with a much better visibility of the processes. Okay, so benefit number 8 is going to be document management, and this is really access to a single source of truth and a single source for all your documents. So I'm going to show you how Mercury does that. Through the use of our document center. So if I click on the documents link, I'll come through to the document center. So this is really a place for all of our documents across the whole intranet. We can also show documents from your team sites, from your project sites, etc. So if I search in here, for example, I want to look at what the fire drill is. So you can see here, as soon as I search fire drill, I've got all the documents, the fire evacuation policy, safety training, etc. I can use the refiners on the left-hand side, as I know the document I'm looking for is a Word document, and I know the author was Judith, and that's going to filter the documents right down. I can also look across policies and any SOPs, standard operating procedures that we might have, any risk assessments, or any general documents. And you can define your own categories for these documents, and we work with you to build these out. And if I show you behind the scenes of that site, so I'm going to click on the cog and I'm going to click on Site Contents, you can see the document libraries that we have. In this case, we have risk assessments and SOPs. We would work with you to build this out to have your own document libraries and your own document structure. If I click through to risk assessments, you can see all the documents that have been uploaded, the user who's uploaded those, and we also have a unique document ID, meaning that any document you upload has a unique ID which won't change and will stay across the whole of the intranet. It's very easy for me to edit these documents. For example, I can click on the ellipsis here and I can click through to edit the properties, and I can see the metadata of this document, the published date, when it was last reviewed, etc. So this is really helping you drive document management through the intranet using the native functionality of SharePoint and really building on SharePoint's document management functionality to bring that to the center of the intranet. Okay, so to summarize that one, users can easily track and find the documents that they need. This improves work productivity by reducing the time spent looking for the documents. If the documents are moved, they can still find them in one place. You can work on documents in draft mode using the SharePoint publishing and versioning functionality and publish those out to all users once complete. You can also use version control to ensure that documents have one version and that multiple versions can be created, document can be checked out, and users can work on those before they go live to other users. Okay, so benefit number 9 is going to be reduced IT overheads. I'll show you how Mercury does that. Okay, so if I navigate back to the Mercury homepage, okay, so a number of ways that Mercury will help reduce your IT overheads. The first one will be through our Service Updates Accelerator. So this allows your IT team to quite easily show you what's going on across the business. If there's any key systems that might be down, see in this case Harvest is currently unavailable and Freshdesk has some planned maintenance. It's very easy for your IT team to keep your users up to date on any system downtime, and this is going to lessen calls to your service desk because your users are always kept up to date. I've got a link here to contact the IT support team and raise a ticket if required, but it's unlikely to be required as the user can clearly see what's happening with that system. The other way to reduce IT overheads is again through our How Do I application. If I navigate back through there and navigate into the IT area and equipment and devices, as a user, I might have a question on how to use an iPad. We can see in this case that's a popular page. Lots of users have that question. I can click through to use an iPad and I can get a full article explaining how I do that. So I don't need to call IT, I don't need to raise a ticket because I've got the process in front of me. And again, I can access that through search if I want to. I can search and say, well, I want to find out how I use an iPad. That'll search the whole intranet and you can see straight away it's found the use an iPad article. So it's very easy to find that content and IT don't need to get involved in that. Okay, so to summarize that one, it's going to consolidate the infrastructure and solutions into a single scalable business platform. It's going to be less calls to your service desk and IT team, really reducing your IT overheads. And the final benefit for an intranet for your business is going to be the maximum return on investment. It's one of the best ways to get a maximum return on investment from an intranet. Okay, so a number of benefits here. So your hard cost savings, it's going to be reduced paper trails, emails, shared folders, which ultimately means less hardware, less disk space required. We've got soft cost savings, so upgrades are centralized to the intranet, which is going to save time and improve efficiency. And engaged employees are going to be motivated, which means they'll work smarter. Employee collaboration means that traditional tasks which would take a lot longer time are completed much quicker and processes take much less time. So to give you a summary of Mercury, it's a ready-to-go scalable intranet. It's fully integrated with Office 365 and SharePoint, as you saw. It's built to Microsoft best practice, as we're a Microsoft partner. It's fast, modern, and easy to use, and it contains all the features that you'll typically find in a SharePoint intranet. We say it contains 80% of the features out of the box, and it's 20% customizable. And we typically say we can get a deployment of Mercury to your UAT environment in as little as 20 days, which is a fraction of the time it would take to deploy a completely custom intranet into your organization. And again, as I said earlier, it's fully branded to your organization. We can easily switch the branding. We can add your logo. We can add your corporate brand colors, and you're good to go. So a little bit more around Mercury. It's easily customizable and extendable. All the accelerators that you saw earlier can be customized for your business. It's going to make content much easier for your employees to find, and it's really going to empower and engage your users to actually use your intranet. It's fully responsive, as you saw, so your employees can get access to the intranet from anywhere that they might be. And the main thing is it's built on top of SharePoint. It's not a separate application that you need dedicated experience to maintain within your IT department. It uses native SharePoint and Office 365 functionality. So why did we build Mercury? We built it to address the repeating requirements that we kept seeing when we did intranet projects. We did it to broaden the SharePoint intranet market, and we also did it to enable rapid intranet delivery, as I said, as little as 20 days to get it to UAT, which is very quick. So we'll move on to questions. I think some of you have already raised some questions within the questions panel. I'll go ahead and answer these. I've got my colleague with me who will answer these questions as well. Okay, and we have a webinar offer for you. So you can see your new intranet in a free branded demo. We will do you a free demo of Mercury with your colors, your logo, so you can really get a view of how the intranet would look for you. So if you're interested in that, please message me in the chat or ask a question in the chat panel, or you can visit our Mercury website at mercuryintranet.com. Thanks for joining. I hope you found it helpful, and it'd be great to hear from you. Thank you.